Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to Basement Radio Arcade, the Basement Radio Arcade podcast. My name's Enrique, aka the Aries Gamer. Welcome to the Green Room, and tonight I am joined by two returning guests. I have B Money 101 of the Inner Circle podcast, and I am joined by Mamacita 952 of Classy Gamer Gals. How are you guys doing today?
I'm pretty
Doing
good.
wonderful, man.
Yeah, well, it's you were doing a special like Sunday edition because I was supposed to do this Thursday, and um, I had to go to a work network happy hour type thing, which actually wasn't bad because I got free food and beer. So
Oh, cool.
yeah, I can't complain about that. But yes, I couldn't. We couldn't do this Thursday, and Eric was actually supposed to. Eric Jackson of EXL Gaming was supposed to join us tonight, but he wasn't able to join us. So Eric, big shout out to you, man. We'll have him back on again on Tuesday for our regular Basement Radio Arcade broadcast. But real quick to the viewers who aren't familiar with you B Money or you Mamacita. Mamacita, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, talk a little bit about Classic Gamer Gals and some of the things you guys have going on your channel right now.
Okay. Well, this is Mama Sita with Classic Gamer Gals, and my please feel free to subscribe youtube.com forward slash Classic Gamer Gals 2015. Well, this week we had our very first Wine and Recline night where we rated Superman versus Batman and who we decided was the hottest hunk. And we looked at, special abilities, superpowers, all that good stuff, and even looks. And Pocahontas, Candyland, and myself determined who won for that night. And I'm not going to tell you, who won. I'll let you go to my channel and watch it, and you can see. But it was, pretty funny. Bernie Mac and Miss Hattie and Shamama Quita, my alter ego, who's so different from Mama Sita, came out. Okay, so, and it's kind of funny, because Mama Sita is very, not just classy and professional in her tone and mannerism, but Mama Sita can be kind of a little different. I mean, she's a little more mouthy and a little more attitude she has with it. So that's interesting. But I will say this. Tomorrow I have my second open mic podcast. And if anyone saw my first open mic podcast I did about 2 weeks ago with Crap Gamer, I established that podcast to specifically interview video gaming journalists and developers, YouTube personalities, and publishers within the gaming community. And I am pleased to announce that tomorrow at 12 o'clock noon on Classic Gamer Gals, I have an interview with Hip Hop Gamer of Hot 97, the Hip Hop Gamer Show. And so he will be live with me at 12 o'clock, and I'm going to interview him, and I have put together a list of questions that he had said he does not want to see in advance, so kudos to him for that. And we'll have maybe a 30 to 45-minute interview session tomorrow, Monday, 12 o'clock noon. So please check this out on Classic Gamer Gals.
Wow, that's awesome, Mamacita, that you were able to get him on your podcast to interview him tomorrow. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's even awesomer. And that's not a word.
I don't know if that's a word, but
It's not. I told you I will make up a word that he would agree to come on to my channel. I mean, I have my channel. I have 154 subscribers. No one knows who Mama Sita is besides, my Twitter community,
Yeah.
and my 153 subscribers. So for him to agree to come, to me, in my house, I just thought, kudos to him for that. I really thought that spoke volumes to. I think he has this, maybe kind of giving back or trying to help others establish themselves as he has established some things within the community. So,
Yeah, that's a pretty good look. So I'm looking forward to tuning in and checking that out.
yeah,
Yeah, me too. I mean, that's and that's awesome that he's, like you said, he's trying to help, someone out who, like you said, you have over 100 subscribers, but I mean, your channel's fairly new for the most part, and that's awesome that he's doing that, kind of
yeah.
giving back. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And I told him that I'm addressing, I'm going to approach this, with a, interview style.
Yeah.
So I have a list of questions to ask him, and questions that I feel like, many of us, and those of us within the, gaming community may want to ask. And he agreed to it, and he didn't want any questions in advance. He said, I want to approach this. You presented it in, in a professional manner, and then he's going to present it in that way. He's going to come in that manner as well. So, he didn't want anything in advance. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, no, that is
Hmm.
really cool, and I'm gonna have to check that out after you post it up on your
Yeah.
website. But
Oh yeah.
Mama, I really like what you're doing with interviewing not just game developers, but or people in the industry, but even YouTube personalities. Because I'm not aware of anyone that's really doing that right now. I mean,
Hmm.
maybe there are people with other podcasts I'm not aware
Yeah.
of, but
Yeah.
I think that's really neat that you're interviewing YouTube celebrities or folks that have YouTube channels that have a voice in the gaming community.
Yes, well, that's what when I created, my channel, I set a unique, talk show style approach and interviews. And when I say unique, I wanted to do some things differently. A lot of times, the YouTube personalities and those in the industry, you see, like for instance, hip hop gamer, you see him as the interviewer, but you never really see him as the interviewee. So yeah, I want to reach out to those that are normally interviewing others, and then okay, well now let's get to know you, or let me ask you questions that I feel like those of us, in the community aren't ever really able to ask. So it's different. We'll see how it goes and see what doors that it opens, and possibilities, and but I'm just trying to do me and keep it real and be myself and enjoy the moment.
No, I hear that. I hear that.
Hmm.
Well, B Money 101's with us from the Inner Circle podcast. B Money, why don't you introduce yourself and your podcast and the Inner Circle and what you guys do?
Hey everybody, it's B Money 101 from the Inner Circle podcast. Um, you know, we're a premier podcast for Xbox. We have a podcast that we do bi-weekly. We have interviewed some of the biggest names in the industry. We interview, you know, indie developers all the way up to AAA guys. It's been a long road for us. We've been only doing this for about 2 years now. Have seen a lot of success. We launched our website last year, ticgn.com. You can head over there and check out any of the latest gaming news, previews, reviews, PM pieces on the gaming industry. Um, and we're just working, man. So I appreciate everybody who's kind of jumped on board and helped us out to get to where we are. And I appreciate all the people who have supported us by listening to the podcast, heading over to the website. It's definitely much appreciated. We've seen a lot of developer response as of late. So as you may notice, we have a lot more reviews on the website from bigger games
Hmm.
that have really released recently. So um, just appreciate everyone supporting and you know ready to talk games.
Yeah, and B Money, I really like the interviews that you did with Phil Spencer and Brad Wardell as well. Those were some of the
Hmm.
some of my favorite interviews that I've listened to the last over the last year. That the Brad Wardell one was really insightful, by the way, with DX12, and I think that came around the time that we around the time of the debate of the secret sauce. But uh,
Yeah, that is one thing that we try to do is we try to get at the ground layer before
yeah,
it becomes that next big thing. So having Brad on, that was pretty exciting for us. Got a lot of tech talk out of that interview, and it opened
yeah.
our eyes to it, for a lot of gamers after that interview. So I appreciate Brad for coming on, talking with us.
No, it definitely did. For me, it was really insightful on how DX12 was going to work. I mean, he actually explained it in a way that you didn't have to be a developer to really understand how DX12 was going to work, and that was great. I really appreciated the way he explained that because I'm not a programmer or developer, but he explained it in a way that I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense.
Right.
and it kind of tempered my expectations of DX12 a little bit,
Yeah.
because like I said, at that time it was like the secret sauce, and and now we're seeing DX12 finally come out. So, um, but we have this the green room for those who aren't aware is kind of our more Xbox centric podcast. Uh, Eric Jackson and I were talking one day offline, and we just kind of came up with the idea to do this because we feel like there's not enough of like what you guys do, B Money, not enough like positive Xbox focused podcasts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It seems like there's this trend to, if you're an Xbox podcast, and that's fine if you do that. I mean, that's your thing. But there just seems to be a trend that if you talk Xbox, it's really isn't talking Xbox so much as it is to bash Sony and say they suck and this and that, and they don't have any games and whatnot. And even some of the feedback that I've gotten from folks on Twitter, interacting with folks on Twitter, was that they were looking for something a little more positive, where it was just really focused on gaming related news as it relates to the Xbox, and not necessarily just maybe system war stuff. So that's why we decided to do it. And Warrior Wart, who isn't with us tonight, just tweeted me and asked me, Mamacita, when is the Blue Room coming?
Good question.
Yeah, that's his. He's funny. He said to me, he goes, "So you're doing an Xbox podcast?" He goes, "What about a Sony one?" I'm like, "Well," I'm like, we talk about Sony in the in our Tuesday night podcast.
Well,
So
you got to keep it fair.
what's
Come
that?
on, you got to keep
Yeah.
it fair.
I
There's nothing
know.
wrong with a Blue Room podcast.
I tell you what, I don't have the time to do a Blue Room podcast.
Yeah.
If I had more time, I'd probably do it. But I just don't have the time. And even with the green room now, I'm thinking about maybe doing that like every other week now, because it's a lot. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Tell me about it.
I mean,
Yeah, it
Mom said you're
is.
doing interviews, you're getting people lined up.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a
We've
lot
been
of background work
podcast.
that people just don't know,
uh,
how
Yeah.
much work they're actually putting in. So,
Oh, yes. Exactly, and even costs as
yeah.
well. I don't think and I didn't realize, and I know, when people, I've heard people say, well, if you're so dedicated, to the industry or to the gaming community, they're like, why do you have ads? Which I don't have ads, on mine. I have a, if you want to donate, support this channel, but I don't think, folk might, you really understand the cost, even setting up, establishing your podcast,
Yeah.
the microphones and
yeah,
the
the
PC
hardware,
and
yeah,
the headsets, and then the time that it takes, the editing and
yeah,
video and needing the software. I mean that there's cost to that. So I think it's okay for people to that have YouTube channels to want to recoup some of that cost back. And then some people give away games. I mean, I've given away codes. I've purchased codes and things and given them away. And I actually have a few more that I need to give away. But it can be time consuming.
Yeah.
It
absolutely.
definitely can. But I enjoy it. As long as it's fun and I'm doing what's fun and I can enjoy it, I will continue to do it.
Yeah, no, that's exactly. It's what it's about. It's about
Hmm.
having fun and be money. I mean, you guys put a lot of work into your product, so and you guys have done a great job with that website, by the way, too.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
they have. It really looks great.
it does. So, all right, guys, let's talk some gaming related news, because they, outside of the the I guess depending how you look at this, the terrible news of Fable, there was other Xbox related news last week. Believe it or not, um, there was a leak. In fact, let me ask you: do any of you guys play Killer Instinct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what? It's probably one of the games that I really haven't got into. I played it probably around launch, the Xbox One, and haven't picked it up since. So,
Yeah.
um, you know what? I'm just not really. I don't know. I just not into fighters, I guess, anymore. It's not my thing. But the game looked great. I remember playing it looked great. But
Well,
looks
I was
like the
kind of the same way. I'm sorry, but
no.
I,
Go
I
ahead,
was
Mama
kind of
Sita.
the same way. I played it when it first came out and then put it down and didn't didn't go back to it until maybe 3 or 4 months ago, and I've been playing it consistently ever since. But it's a pretty and I found I've played Mortal Kombat 10 and after playing with Mortal Kombat, coming back to Killer Instinct, I had a different perspective on it, and I actually prefer it.
Yeah.
To be honest, I do, and I'm not really a huge fighter, gamer, but Killer Instinct, I think the moves and
Yeah.
the combos, the ultra combos, and the special effects and the sound effects, ultra combo, and
Yeah. Yeah.
that.
Ultra,
Yes,
ultra.
yes, and you hear it when you're hitting the hits, and it's like tap, tap, and I'm
Yeah,
like, yeah, I'm really in it. Especially when you trigger one, and it's like, did I just trigger an ultra combo? Yeah. So,
yeah,
yeah.
No, the game it runs smooth. I remember that the animations were just smooth. They were really smooth. That's one of the things that really jumped out to me about the game, especially when you're doing those ultra combos.
hmm Yeah.
So it looks like there was a leak. Killer Instinct Season 3. Looks like what's been leaked are the two new characters are going to be joining Killer Instinct. They're going to have General. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. General Rom from Gears of War.
hmm
You guys familiar with that character?
Yes, yes, I
Yep.
am.
So he's one
Big
of the
Gears fan.
characters. Yep,
Yeah.
from Gears. And I'm not surprised by that. I think Microsoft's going to really tap into a lot of their IPs for a lot of the unless they start making new characters for Killer Instinct. It doesn't surprise me they're tapping into uh, a lot of the characters from their IPs they own. I mean they have Rash from Battletoads that they added, the Arbiter from Halo. So General Rom's going to be joining them, and then um, it looks like there's another character that named Mira, and I'm not familiar with this character.
Yeah.
Are you guys familiar with Mira?
I'm not familiar with her, but supposedly she's like what the evil
Evil twin of Maya.
twin of Maya.
Yep.
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
yes. So those are going to be the two characters that are going to be season 3 for Killer Instinct. You know what, guys? I probably need to pick Killer Instinct up again.
I think
I
you should.
You
Yeah,
should.
because when you guys were like, you guys were getting so hyped. Like I heard, like, Mama, when you were like, like Ultra Combo RB money, like, yeah, like kind of like, yeah, like,
Yeah, and I actually went back and I played played online some online matches because I hadn't played any and some of the characters I had never even sparred with. So it's like I'm still well, I'm at the moment just getting to know my season 1 and season 2 characters, and now we're about to embark upon season 3. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna hold off for season 3 just yet because I've got so much to do now with season 1, season 2, and even in the story mode. So, but I'm excited to hear about the characters that are coming and
yeah,
the fighting styles and all that. But I think I'm gonna just wait on it just until I complete. I advance a little more with the season 2.
yeah. I need to get this.
Yeah, I would
Mhm.
say, Killer Instinct is definitely one of those games that, fighters that has a learning curve to it. So,
Yeah,
if you're used to playing like games like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, things like that, Killer Instinct is definitely a totally different ball game. There's a lot of technical stuff that you kind of have to learn, especially if
hmm
trying to play online or play in tournaments and stuff like that.
yeah,
Um,
Yeah.
but to me, it's definitely one of the better fighters on the market. I've been playing Killer Instinct since Super Nintendo, black cartridge. You know
Oh
what I mean?
wow.
So, you
Okay.
know,
Would
on
you say the
Spino.
degree? I'm sorry. I'm
No, go
sorry.
ahead.
Would you say the degree of difficulty, the learning curve for Killer Instinct, there's a higher degree of difficulty to learn versus Mortal Kombat?
Yes,
Yeah,
most definitely.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I found that out myself. Yep,
Yeah, the
it
combo
is.
breakers on there, the combo breakers. There's a lot of stuff that you kind of have to learn, where
Yes,
it's not
chaining
just a
them
basic.
together.
Yeah,
Yes. Oh,
chaining the
yes.
combos together.
Hmm.
There's a lot of stuff you got to learn to, if you really want to be good at the game. So,
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
excited for the new characters. Spino and Orchid were always my favorite characters
Uh huh.
from the original game. General Rom is one of my favorite characters from Gear, so I'll definitely, you know, try my go with him and see if I can master some of his moves. But I'm pretty excited. I was when they announced Killer Instinct originally, for Xbox One. That was probably the biggest announcement for me
Yeah.
because I've been waiting, for years for them to bring the game back. They were struggling with the name because it was owned by somebody else, and they finally got the rights to the name again. And once they got the rights, I knew it was coming. So I'm just glad it's here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that yeah, season 3 is supposed to drop March 29th later this month. And there's also, according to the story, there's also something that was leaked, a new mode called Shadow Lords. But nothing's really been revealed in terms
Hmm.
related to that. So yeah, no,
Okay.
yeah, I don't know
Okay.
what mode that pertains to, but there isn't any really information on it. Just some leaked screenshots that showed a new game mode called Shadow Lord. So
Okay.
Hmm. Well, B Money, we're gonna have to team up, and because I need to practice my defense. My combo breakers, they suck.
you guys got to train on
They
Xbox
suck.
Live.
Yeah, so I need to play you on Xbox Live, okay, so I can practice. I mean, my
Yeah.
offense, if I can get you, if I can get the first strike, the first hit, I got you. But if you
Yeah.
hit me first, I have no defense. It's over. It's all over.
That's
Yeah.
funny. Oh, that is too funny. Yeah, you know what? I would be such a noob at this game. I wouldn't even go online and play anyone. Yeah, because I would get my ass kicked. It wouldn't be fun for me. I'd have to go in and really like dedicate some time to learn the game. You
Yeah.
know, because I don't think button mashing is going to work. So,
It doesn't.
No,
Definitely
no,
doesn't.
not on this game.
Yeah,
especially you guys are
Killer
talking about
Instinct.
combo breakers and stuff.
Yeah, button mashing. Forget it.
So, guys, on to other gaming related news. The Division launched this week on the Xbox and on PlayStation as well. But Ubisoft was saying that this is their fastest selling title in the first 24 hours of release.
Hmm.
This is
That's
pretty exciting. Um, just because we know Watch Dogs was the last game that sold this quickly for them. So,
Yeah,
it was nice to see Ubisoft kind of bounce back since they've been struggling with, some of the IPs that they've been releasing lately. So, it's huge news for me because I'm a huge Tom Clancy fan. I love, Rainbow Six, Ghost Recon, Splinter Cell, stuff like that. So I'm glad that people went out and supported this game. So
yeah, yeah,
yeah, no,
yeah.
absolutely. And it's I'm assuming you guys have played it.
Yes, I
yes,
have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been playing it. I've been playing it. I've got a couple
nonstop.
of play dates set up. Xbox Mom and I are talking about teaming up and Twitch streaming it.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, and I teamed up with Pocahontas and Candyland
Hmm.
last night. So yeah, we've been we've been running it.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think of this game compared to Destiny? Now, I've I'm a level 11 now on Destiny. Geez, I've seen people that are level 30s already on my friends list, but I'm only at a level 11. But I really like this game. I really like the
Hmm.
setting in New York City. I feel like there's a lot for Ubisoft to build out here.
Hmm.
We're only getting pieces of Manhattan and pieces of the greater New York metropolitan area. I mean, you could still go across the river into Hoboken and Jersey City if you wanted to. We got a little bit of Brooklyn in the beginning of the game, but there's still Queens, there's still that part, there's Long Island. So there's this big world there that they can tap into, and I like the potential of this game. But let me ask you guys something. What do you think of this game compared to Destiny? And Mamacita, why don't we let you go first, as you're the lady here in the podcast this evening.
Well, when you say comparing it to Destiny, do you mean in the game style
Well, I mean, like
in
just
the
your experience so far, and what and the game style.
Okay. Well, I mean, there are, the similarities in that, having teams and, teaming up with other players to, advance in missions or, that's similar. And I think, well, let me say this. Destiny, for what it was, when I initially played Destiny, I wasn't a Destiny hater, and I really am not still at this point a Destiny hater. I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed, the matchmaking up with players and going into, the missions and all that and the world was interesting enough to me. And then the story I couldn't pretty much follow, but I enjoyed Destiny. I think with Destiny, it just the repetitiveness, as everyone says, after a while just kind of, got old. And then finding out
Mhm.
that that year two thing and update, then I had to purchase for the Taken King, additional $40. That just kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. I do feel like the division, as it stands at this point, has more content
Mhm.
right now than Destiny did when it was released. I do feel like it's a fuller experience so far.
Yeah.
From what I can tell and what has been said, I understand there's this other mode, like this underground mode where we'll go into like the tunnels at some point. I don't
Yep.
know if there's like the infected,
Yep.
so perhaps we'll have that kind of like that survival type of mode at some point as well. But I just feel like the game is more complete. And that's the similarities as far as the fire teams are there. But content, I will have to give it to Division. I don't feel like I have to loot or grind in the game. There isn't a lot of grinding in it. I've got to find this and find that and find that. Not a lot of it. There's crafting, but you can dismantle your weapon tree or your armor or equipment, and it just seems like it's an easier path for crafting than it was in Destiny, at least the way Destiny when it was originally released. It took forever. You go to the moon and then go to Mars and back to the moon. Oh, I forgot this. I need that. After a while, that was just. I'm tired of doing this. I
and
don't
you
want to do it anymore.
and then you get stuck in that loading screen in Destiny. You're like your
Yeah.
ship is just like stuck in hyperspace. You're just like, come
Yeah.
on.
Like, come on. But I'm finding weapons now that I can use. Whatever
Yeah,
level I am,
off the
I'm
bat
finding
too.
off the bat the weapons and armor and gear that are valuable to me right now versus something that I've got to wait till I level up to be able to use. I'm getting those things now. So kudos to Ubisoft for that. That they didn't go the Bungie route with that, because that was kind of just time consuming.
Yeah, no,
But that's
definitely.
it.
No, it definitely was time consuming. B Money, what are your thoughts so far, man, on the game?
Uh, I love this game. I've been waiting for this game for a long time since they originally announced it. Ubisoft tends to be my favorite conference of E3, just specifically because they always leave like the big surprise at the end. They're always like, "Oh, the show is over," and they're like, "Oh, wait, we got something else to show you." And since the moment that they showed us this trailer when they first announced it, I've been in love with the game. I picked up the collector's edition, so
Oh,
I got
nice.
the big box with the watch. Like I said, I'm a big Tom Clancy fan, so as soon as the game launched, I was all over it. But when you compare it to Destiny,
Hmm.
like Mama Cedar said, I really wasn't a Destiny hater. When the game uh, first released, I thought it was a pretty good game. I thought it was well balanced. Um, but like she said, there was a lot of grinding, and that's not something that I think that most people expected from Bungie. Specifically because they were coming, from Halo, and that's not something that you see, in the Halo franchise. So, when you put your faith in, a company like Bungie, and you want to support their next project, you kind of feel like, the project would be at least along the same type of line, for the game, and it just really wasn't. So,
Hmm.
that was a little bit of, unsettling for me. But I still enjoyed the game while I played it. I bought the collector's edition when that released as well, and kind of stuck with it until the Taken King, and then after Taken King, I just, I put it down. It just I couldn't afford to, keep putting that much time into it, and not getting the weapons or drops,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
items that I felt like I deserved. So I went ahead and set that down. But when you compare it to the division, like Mom C just said, just going throughout the game, when you kill enemies and things like that, the drops, they accord, to your actual character. So, if you're level 18, you could probably expect to, get something at least in that range.
Yeah.
Whether it be 17, 18, or 19, you might not use it right then, but, in the next level, it'll be ready there
Yeah,
for you. So,
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
they
Yeah,
definitely did a great job with that. Map design content is amazing. The one thing that I do kind of wish that they would have had is some type of actual competitive mode to the game.
Hmm.
They do have the Dark Zone, which can be competitive, but as I've noticed, just being in there, maybe the handful of times I've been in there, um, a lot of the other players that I run into, they're not really trying to, take my loot or anything like that. Everybody's, trying to get to the drop, get their loot, back to base, and kind of move on from there. So I wish there was a little bit of a competitive mode in the game, whereas maybe a team deathmatch, or some type of survival mode, similar to how The Last of Us was with their
Hmm.
multiplayer. But other than that, I can't say enough good things about the game.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And one complaint I would have that is just so irritating for me, that double tapping A to roll out of the way. The roll is so slow. I feel like my girl is just in slow mo.
The
There's so
roll
many
is a little
times I'm
slow.
like, get out of the way, get out of the way. And the guys come in with that fire torture, thingy majiggy, and I'm trying to roll out of the way. And I'm like, okay, can you move any slower?
What are those guys called? The cleaners? Isn't that
Yeah, the
what
Yeah,
cleaners.
the
yeah,
Yeah.
cleaners?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I can't
yeah,
stand them.
okay. Well, they need to speed that up because you gotta double tap the roll. They just need to speed her up a little bit. She's too slow. I mean, it's like this slow forward roll. I'm like, oh my God, can you be any slower, girlfriend? Move out of the way.
Yeah.
So that's about the only complaint I have. I
I
think.
will say, since you did mention that, I think this is probably the smartest AI,
Yes.
that I've seen in,
The AI is
this
great.
type of shooter game.
Yeah.
If you're spraying them down, or you get critical hits, they run into cover. If you throw out your, one of your supply units, or your turret gun, they'll try to destroy it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They're
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
tactical,
Oh
just as
yes.
tactical as you are. So,
Yes, they
that
are.
is pretty amazing.
They'll flank
Mhm.
your position too. I learned that the hard way. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
I got beat with a baseball bat. I'm like, oh shit, where did that come from? And I turn,
Yeah.
I'm looking at the
Yeah.
screen. My guy's laying down. There's a guy standing over me with a baseball bat. He flanked my position.
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah,
And the elite AI, you throw a grenade, they just roll out of the way.
Yeah,
I mean, are
yeah.
you serious? I just
Eh,
wait a grenade, okay, and you just roll right on out of the way. And but they roll out faster, much faster than I can avoid theirs. Okay,
They do.
yeah.
there's like instant.
And they're snipers. Sometimes those snipers are deadly. They're
Yeah,
snipers. There's a couple times I've been taken out one shot.
yeah.
Hmm.
I pop.
Especially if you're a level under. Don't go in a level under. Oh my
Nope.
gosh, or definitely not two, but it's like a one shot kill.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
But that's
definitely.
that's what makes it good. I think that's
It
what
is.
makes it
It
so
does. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I'll say this much. I feel like Destiny had a lot of highs, like real high highs. With the raids and everything, and then a lot of low lows. It was like you either got like a great experience with Destiny, or you got like this this back to the grind again experience with Destiny. Where I feel like the division so far has been like this consistent experience. I haven't had like a oh my gosh, that was like awesome moment like I did with some of the raids in Destiny, but I
Yeah.
but I haven't had this like oh my god, this is such a grind, and I don't want to play this anymore. I'm getting terrible drops. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm having fun playing it.
Hmm.
With the weapons that I'm getting great weapons. I'm getting great gear. I think B Money, you said that you can pretty much count on getting something that's within whatever level you are, rank you are,
Yeah.
and you can, and I'm excited. Like I actually try to find like those like loot crates. I go looking for those things because I know there's a chance that I might get something. In Destiny, I might be like, whatever. I might get something I don't need or already have. You know,
Yeah.
um,
I never got anything for, that I need. I never did. And I mean, I can admit that. It was very rare that I ever, found anything that was really useful for me. It just, I mean, as far as in the crates, after a strike or, well, maybe the rates might have been a little different. I only ran those a couple of times, so I didn't do a lot because by that
yeah,
time I think I was burnt out. The strikes just burnt me out.
yeah. The strikes
Yeah.
were a little like, yeah, repetitive.
And the daily missions, it's like the same missions, and after a while, it was just so, darn repetitive. And I just don't think they, they, all that they bought in Destiny Year Two, I just, it should have been there from the beginning. And I think I probably would still be playing it if that were the case.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think the worst part about Destiny is when you felt like you worked so hard and you finally got a drop and it was for a different character class.
No, for the
yeah.
Titan.
Like an
Yeah.
exotic armor piece, and you're like,
Yes,
oh
or for the
yeah.
Hunter. And I'm like, are you serious? I'm,
Well, remember you get those, you get the engrams, and you take them to, I forget his name now. I almost called him the Arbiter, but who's
oh,
the
the
guy in Destiny,
Oh, you talking
The
about Zero?
Cryptart, the Crypt,
the Cryptarch,
Oh,
yeah,
Cryptarch,
yeah, the
yeah,
Cryptarch.
Cryptarch,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
yeah, and you would have a purple engram, and you'd be expecting purple, and you wouldn't get purple. You
Nope.
get
Yeah.
legendary, and it's like it's like what? It's like what is going on? Yeah, it's like Bungie was just trolling the shit out of us. Like ha ha ha.
Yeah, and then they had a nerve to seal up. Do you remember the loot caves where you could go and just shoot?
Yeah,
Yeah,
And
just
you got a nerve
farm
to
all the
patch
loot.
that farm the loot. Yes. And then you
Yeah.
had a nerve to patch that. We're like, seriously, that was the only way we could halfway find anything because
yeah.
so much would drop.
Yeah.
I got to the loot cave right before they ended up patching that.
Oh shoot, I
And
was in
then
that
if you
loot
remember, they put
cave.
a message in there like of a voice
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and to further troll us,
Yeah, that was
assholes.
garbage.
I I I'm willing to bet a lot of people have left Destiny now and went to the Division.
I believe so
I
too.
would bet. I bet
Yeah,
that.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and it's
Oh
it's
yeah.
fun. Like it's tactical.
Mm-hmm.
Like you guys said, the AI is some of the better AI that I've seen in a shooter
Yeah.
like this in a long time.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
that's a pleasant surprise. Now I do have a couple complaints, like you, Mamacita, with the rolling. The rolling's a little slow, and even and I know it's a cover-based shooter too. Even some of the movement, like when I'm going from like, one like say one barricade to another, seems a little like it could be faster too. Like when you're running, between cover.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then sometimes the AI are bullet sponges. Like I can unload a clip at a guy with a baseball bat with my AK-47 at point blank range, and it takes me a whole clip to unload to take him down. I'm like, that
Hmm.
shouldn't be happening.
How do you guys feel about though them opting to not have a crouch option?
It's funny. Eric and I were talking about that today when we were playing, and they need to have a crouch. That is terrible.
Mm.
I'm really like I'm disappointed they don't have a crouch. They need
Yeah.
to. It's like there's instances where like I'm trying to like shoot like a boss, like I'm like sitting high, and there's like a railing I can shoot between the railing. Like if I could crouch, I'd get a better shot. But it's
Yeah.
like you can't crouch. And I don't understand why they didn't add that into the game.
I think they used the Ghost Recon Future Soldier engine as far as the cover base and the running that they use in the game
Hmm.
because it's almost exactly the same way. And there wasn't a crouch in that game either. But that also was just like a competitive shooter. Um, so it wasn't like this team based game or anything like that. It wasn't like an
Yeah.
open world shooter.
Yeah.
But
Because
I think
there
they
are
want to use. I think they use the same engine.
mhm. There are plenty of times when we were running it last night and we were at the top and we up top and the enemies at the bottom and you're trying to shoot down. So you either, I mean, even shooting blind, like the shooting in cover, I I couldn't connect with the enemy in cover. So because I was up the top and where they're located, but if I had the ability to actually crouch,
Yeah,
I would have, I could have lined my shot out and
exactly.
made contact with the enemy. But I either had to stand up and take hits, or just try to blind shoot. And when you're shooting
Yeah,
from cover, your accuracy is so bad. So
yep.
and then you can't line it up. And so situations like that, I think they're gonna have to address that because over time, as I think people are kind of gonna get ignored with that. It can become annoying, I think, or frustrating, I would say.
I agree with that. I'm frustrated by it.
Yeah.
So, and maybe
Mhm.
that's something they patch into the game later on. But the challenge with these games, with the Destinies and these MMOs, like, and I think the challenge at some point division will have, or the division will have, is at some point we may get tired of playing the same game. You know what I mean? I mean, I think with any game there's this level, or you get to a point where you're just kind of over it.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's the challenge with some of these MMOs, or these shooters that are MMOs now. How do you make it fresh? How do you keep the experience fresh? We saw what's happened with Destiny, and how's Ubisoft going to keep this fresh and keep us kind of engaged? Right now, it's all so new, and that's what I'm excited about, the location and where the game takes place, as opposed to like Destiny, where it was in space. Yeah, that's all great, and I'm kind of a sci-fi geek. I love the space, but there wasn't enough space exploration, and you got tiny pieces of worlds where I feel like with the Division, you're in New York City, and there's more of a connection because, well, I've been in New York City. We're all familiar with New York City, and I just feel like there's more of a connection there. And we're only getting bits or pieces of Manhattan right now, and well, you can go in the dark zone and get the other piece. But
Hmm.
I think there's a lot of possibilities here for content for them, and a lot of a lot. I think there's an opportunity for them to give us more things to explore. Like you talked about, I think Mamacita, the subway, where there's going to be a subway mission where we're fighting maybe the infected.
Yeah. Yeah. Some kind of underground.
Yeah,
I believe IGN showed 8 minutes of gameplay. What
they
wasn't
did.
included in the beta?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's all these possibilities that Ubisoft has with the Division. And do you guys remember this? B Money, you mentioned that you were excited about this game when they first showed it, but there was a mobile piece to this game where you could log on like your tablet and
Hmm.
actually support another player, like through, I don't know, I think aerial support or something. I forget what they showed in that demo. I want to say the person was dropping turrets or dropping bombs or something
They
on
were
the
actually
enemy
flying a
AI.
turret.
What was
Yeah,
it?
it was like a, it was they were flying a turret. It was on a uh almost just like a small helicopter or airplane, um, and it just had weaponry on it. So they were controlling that from the tablet. But I talked to Massive at E3, and they actually said that they removed that portion of the game because it was kind of unbalancing the game. So
Mm.
that's why it's not there. Because like you can have your friend join, kind of join your group,
Hmm.
on the mobile, but the other team may not be able to do that. You know what I mean?
Oh, I
Or
see what you're saying. Yeah.
so it was kind of unbalancing the game a little bit. So they did remove it, unfortunately.
I'm not a big fan of drones in video games because of Call of Duty.
Oh yeah.
I'll leave it at that. Those drones that they introduced in the Call of Duty multiplayer was just they're the most annoying things to me.
Oh wow.
I can't stand them.
Understandably so.
Yeah, people fly them, and they you get it's yeah. I think the drones make that game a little unbalanced, but that's another discussion. So that's interesting to hear that that's why they removed it then, because I remember seeing that, and I thought it was kind of a cool feature that they had the mobile piece,
Hmm.
because we hadn't seen anything like that, in a console game where you could do something like that. So, but yeah, I'm excited for this. I'm only, like I said, a level 11, and I hope to get to 30. I guess 30 the cap, the max now.
I believe 30 is the cap because all the achievements are to reach level 30. So I believe 30 is the cap for now. But we do know that they already have, 3 or 4 planned expansions. I think one of them actually drops next month.
Oh wow.
The first like free expansion. So I would assume that the level cap will increase every time they drop an expansion.
And you said free expansion.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
free.
See, that's
The one in
key.
April is free.
That's key. You hear that, Bungie?
Mama, you don't want to pay another $40?
Heck no. Back to the knob.
I'll tell you what, Bungie, yeah,
Or Activision,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that is the one thing that Ubisoft has over Activision right now is that they kind of have a set plan of kind of what this game will be and what the potential will be in the future.
Hmm.
Whereas, Bungie or Activision, it's like, go ahead, let Bungie do their thing and, we'll hope for the best. And, the game released without a story. We had to wait till year 2 to get the story.
Well,
The story still isn't finished or correct. There's
there
still
there was a
actually around the
there
story.
was a story. You just had to read all the what
Yeah,
do
I'm
they
not
call it?
doing
The
that.
Grimoire cards.
I'm
Yeah,
not collecting 500 Grimmer cards to try to figure out what the
you had
story
to
is.
grind for it. You had to
Yeah,
grind
you
for the
did.
story.
Yeah, and it was I read some of the Grimoire cards. There was definitely an interesting story there, but it would have been better for them had they fleshed that out from the beginning.
Yeah, it should
Yeah,
play it out in the game.
Hmm.
Like there's a lot of great cutscenes in the Destiny story, but
yeah,
I don't
Hmm.
understand why they couldn't flesh that out and make this this amazing experience because they definitely had the potential, but they just
because they
I don't
want to
know.
charge us
Hmm.
for
Hmm.
another DLC map pack.
And in my opinion, it's my opinion alone, I still say that Destiny had uh, the best shooter mechanics that I've
Oh,
played. That I've played. I will say that.
Mama, that I don't think that's an opinion. I think that's a fact.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
The
is.
mechanics were tight in that game.
Yes.
I
On
mean,
point.
yes. I mean,
Yes.
probably some of the best. I'll put it up there with. Well, Halo 5 is good too. I mean, the mechanics on Halo 5
Hmm.
are really good.
They are. They
Those
are.
two, are the best in my opinion. Out of shooters that I've played.
Hmm. And if Ubisoft is smart, they have taken this 2 years, or almost 2 years, to look at the blunders that
Yeah,
Activision and Bungie have made and learn from it, and make it your mission to do everything that they did not do. Whatever you saw them do, do the complete opposite. Okay, Ubisoft. And if you
provide a
don't,
story.
yeah, because it's the plan. It was laid out in front of you what not to do. So you have a plan. If Activision and Bungie didn't have one before, okay, Ubisoft, you've got one. You have one. So I'm really looking to see what you're going to do with this. And so far, so good. I just hope you continue to update, give us the content, continue to do that, keep making it interesting, and just don't try to milk us for every dime
Be
and
money. Mama's
quarter.
pissed about that.
Hey,
Hear
rightfully
it,
But I
so,
hear
guys.
you,
man.
Mama.
You
Rightfully
can
so.
still hear it in my voice.
I can. Yeah, I can learn from their mistakes.
Oh
Learn,
yeah,
Ubisoft.
I'm still mad about that.
I understand. I mean, I was one of those. I was there with you, paying $40, and then yeah, they got me.
The interesting thing about Ubisoft's position right
Uh-huh.
now is that they just released the division. But if you guys remember that they announced Ghost Recon Wildlands, and it's going to be pretty similar as far as
Hmm.
the way that game is set up. So it'll be pretty interesting to see when they release that game if both of these games can kind of coexist on the market at the same
Mhm.
time.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I think they can. I mean, because you're gonna have that Ghost Recon, that fan base that's gonna go out and support that game. Um, and speaking of Ubisoft, this goes back to what you said earlier, B Money, about their, when they're at E3 before they end their show, they're like, oh, wait a minute, we got one big announcement.
Yeah.
I'm hoping this year they give us another Splinter Cell.
Oh, it's coming,
Yeah,
man.
that would be awesome.
It's coming.
Yeah, and they bring the Michael Ironside's voice back, or bring him
Yeah.
back to voice Sam Fisher.
Bring back. Yeah. It's coming, man.
I hope so. I got my fingers crossed. That's one of my favorite franchises from Ubisoft.
It's got to be that because the last three announcements have all been Tom Clancy games. So
Oh yeah, it's a good point. Yeah,
go ahead and finish off the announcements with Splinter Cell, and I'll be a happy guy, man.
yeah, me too, me too, me too. So, well, speaking of other games, the Quantum Break. Did you guys see the new Quantum Break trailer that released?
Yes.
Yes.
That,
Yes.
wow, that game looks great,
Oh
Yeah.
and
yeah.
I
I
think,
have I have high expectations for that game.
yeah, well, I think we all do.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah,
Oh yeah.
I think that's fair because it's Remedy, and to date, Remedy hasn't made a bad game.
They haven't.
Yeah.
So, and hopefully they don't start here, but
Well,
but
from what we've seen, so far from what we've seen, of course, getting the game in your control in your hand and actually playing, of course, that's where the real scrutiny is going to come. But from what I see and what I know,
hmm
and, we can all agree that Max Payne and Alan Wake were well-made games. So I mean, I
yeah,
can't I can't see them. I just can't see them making a bad game at this point in time. I just don't see it. And
no,
whether or not it holds up to everyone's expectations,
hmm
but that doesn't necessarily mean that the game is going to suck if it doesn't meet certain expectations. I don't know, but but we'll see. We shall see. April 6th is not too far away.
oh, that's right, yeah,
Yeah.
we're less than a month away. Holy
Oh
moly!
yeah. Oh
So,
yeah.
so Mama Sita, since you mentioned expectations, what do you expect from this game? How great on the
Well,
scale from 1 to 10? Where do you see this game
Mama,
falling?
she expects a fleshed out story.
yeah, but honestly, I do expect a 10. I expect a 10, and I expect a 10 based on the history of Remedy, yes. The Alan Wake, the Max Payne, but I think because they've been so good at giving us different type of experiences, and I
Right.
think we are calling for, a next gen, or we're now in the current gen, but this generation of console gamers are screaming for something different. Give me a different style of play. Now, and I know that we see a lot of similarities with Max Payne and Alan Wake, but how they have implemented those, that type of gameplay, that the time, movement and time, suspension of time, and just the way that the powers are implemented. I just think they do such a great job in giving us a different type of experience. And because those games aren't yearly releases where you can
Yes.
get bored of
Yeah,
them, and it gives you something to wait for, so it builds up your excitement, and then when you get it. So I am expecting a 10, or at least as
wow,
close to it. I think I can't see. I mean, I'm not saying that no one's going to rate it, but I expect when that game is released and I play it, I'm looking to walk away from this game and say this is a 10, easily, hands down a 10.
Right.
That's my expectation.
yeah, that's I don't want to, I don't like assigning numbers to games, but I definitely think this game's going to be. This is good for me. I look at this as just a classic, great game from Remedy, and I think they're introducing some unique elements to, the action adventure shooting genre that we haven't seen before. And I forget, I was reading an article last week, and I forget I forget what website it was, but basically the gentleman who was playing who was writing the article had a chance to play the game. He was saying that a lot of those new mechanics and new or new like powers or whatever he's using to control time work very well in the context of the game, and that's good to hear because I think sometimes like those things can be cheesy and really not work well with the game,
Right.
and so it was good to hear that those elements, those gameplay elements, work perfectly with the game. So I'm excited. I'm really excited for this game. I can't wait.
Yeah, I got high hopes for the game. I will say that I was questioning the game a lot, over the past year, just because there's certain elements of the game that I want to see that they really haven't shown yet. Just as far as how the game kind of works with the show and how gameplay affects the show, and how the show kind of affects the
Yeah.
gameplay after that. So there's some things I still want to see, from that, but I still have high hopes for the game. Big fan of a lot of the actors, that they've put into the game and put into the show. You can definitely tell that they've taken their time to make this game as perfect as possible. Because when it was first announced, it was, when they showed off the gameplay, it was like, okay, it looks cool. They got the time changing elements in there. It reminded us a lot of Max Payne. Um, but they definitely fleshed the game out. They definitely opened it up a little bit more. So I'm excited. It'll be the biggest game of April. I can't wait to check it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's got a lot of hours of gameplay, I think, too, right? Right? Like it's not a short game, from what I understand. I thought I heard like 20 hours of gameplay or something. Is that? Do you guys hear the
I,
same thing too?
I
I,
heard
I
that.
haven't heard. I would assume that it would kind of be along those lines of kind of being in anywhere between that 16 to 20 hour time of gameplay. Um, at least I would kind of hope so. Especially with the show. So we'll see. I'm excited for it. Big fan of Sean Ashmore. From the following. So um, it'll be nice to see how he acts in this game slash show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I always look. I always think of him as oh shit. What character does he play in X Men? Is it
Oh, the
Iceman?
Iceman. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I always think of him as Iceman, and yeah, that cast they have. I always think of those guys that are in the game as I know everyone refers to what's his face Littlefinger as Littlefinger from Game of Thrones, but to me he was also in The Wire.
Hmm.
And the other guy that's in that I forget the actor's name. He's also from The Wire too,
Yeah.
which is one of my favorite shows ever. Great show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, another big franchise that we got some more information on, some more news on this week. Gears of War 4.
Yeah. Gears
Yeah.
is in the house.
Gears is in the house, and it's funny because I don't know if you got. Well, Mama, see, I know you know. You know Jamie Moran on Twitter.
Yes, I
So
do.
he actually predicted who the main character was in this game.
Oh,
When
he
we
did?
at E3, he said it was probably Marcus Phoenix's son.
Okay.
And so the main character of the game is JD Phoenix, and he is the son of Marcus Phoenix.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
yeah, yeah. So
Predicted that, huh?
what's that?
I said, so Jamie predicted that.
He did. He did. But I, I think a lot of us maybe could have predicted that. I mean, because it kind of makes sense, right? I mean, who would you want to start someone new? Like a new character.
I'm wondering they're gonna
I
build a
mean, he
story of.
is a new character. The
Yeah, I like to know who his mother was.
That's
right.
that's what everyone was talking about last week. Like, who's his mom?
I
I
mean, we
wonder.
we know he had one, so that goes without saying. It's just a matter of who she was, and I'd like to know the story behind that.
The
It may have been Anya.
I don't see Marcus Phoenix as being the romantic type.
Well, you never know. Somebody, he might have had his nose open to somebody. I mean, he's a man.
He's a
That he
man.
is.
Whoa, whoa. What's that mean, Mama?
I mean, come on, don't even try it.
What's that? He's a man. You know how men are.
Yeah. See some fine, the cutie walking past with her gun or something. I don't know. Maybe
Hey.
she was twirling her hips in her armor and
Twirling her hips in her armor. Let me take a look at that chainsaw.
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah. Well,
hilarious.
I mean he hooked up with somebody, so
Yeah, he did. He
yeah.
did. And the character kind of looks like Marcus Phoenix a little bit.
Yeah, they did really good.
Yeah, they
Mm,
did. They did.
creating his offspring.
Yeah, no, they really did. I don't, well, he's not wearing the armor that Marcus Phoenix wore, but he doesn't look as big as Marcus
No,
Phoenix.
he's not, which I
No.
liked.
Yeah,
I liked. They don't look like, you know, just super
like they
beefed
were doing
up.
roids.
Yeah, overly done, because I just think those guys were over the top. I'm just keeping it real. They were over the top, in my opinion. They were just over the top. So at least his son, JD he looks
He
real,
looks normal.
Yeah, he looks normal. He does. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the other guys look like they're just filled up with Botox.
Warrior was doing the mocap for Marcus Phoenix.
I know it's like you could just take a needle and just pop,
Yeah.
press up against their arms and it'll burst open or something.
Well, that was all done for effect. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
because the locusts are these big, the locusts were big too.
Yeah.
I mean, they were pretty big in
yeah.
size.
I really like to interview JD's mother though, and just like to know how that entire experience with him was. I'd
S-
really like to know.
So, what was that night like?
Yeah, did you have to wear a helmet?
Did you have to wear a helmet? How did you get his
Football gear? Did you have a
How did you get his armor off?
girlfriend?
How did you guys meet?
Oh, that's a big dude.
Yeah. What are your favorite qualities of Marcus Phoenix?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Come to find out,
Yeah.
Marcus has a soft side. Can sing, can play the piano,
I don't care.
musically inclined.
I don't care. All of that. She still had to have on a breastplate to deal with that
Oh
man.
boy, oh
Yeah,
boy,
he's just huge. I mean, he's cute
a
physically, his
breastplate.
physique. Yes, because he's just, oh. But maybe she was an oversized, superhuman looking woman, you
Some of
know?
those, yeah, some of those women. Well, maybe who
Hmm.
was the female character in Gears?
Anya.
Maybe Anya is the
Anya
mom.
was the main
Okay,
female character.
okay.
There
Maybe
you
she could
go.
handle him.
Yeah, she could handle him. Oh my gosh. So so this so Gears of War 4 actually takes place 25 years after the events of Gears of War 3. So and actually speaking of the locusts, they're actually not in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're totally
so
different enemies.
totally
Oh my
different enemy.
God,
So
that's good.
we don't know the origin of this enemy. There are some pictures. Game Informer, if you go to their website, actually released some of the pictures that they got from their visit to the coalition, and the game looks pretty good. Some of the pictures they posted online.
Yes, yes it
Yeah,
does.
they did. They did.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I was kind of blown away. I was like, wow, and I almost feel like. I mean, Gears always had like a dark tone to it, but I feel like they're doing that a little bit more now. From what I saw with the new pictures they just showed, I feel like it's almost taken like a Souls kind of approach. In the with the with the level settings. There's that one picture of I don't know if you guys saw it with like lightning coming down.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then there's that see there's the picture of the level of the church, and it's really dark inside. So I feel like they're again I feel like the games obviously always have this dark tone to it, but I feel like they're really kind of they're doing that a little bit more now with Gears of 4, but um,
Gears of
or Gears of
oh
War 4. What did I
yeah,
say?
Gears of
Here's a
Four.
four.
Gears of 4. I mean Gears of War 4. I'm
I
thinking,
do
you know
that
what,
all the
Mama? See,
time, though.
but
I
no,
do it all the time.
I was thinking about the breastplate and Marcus
Oh
Phoenix.
yeah.
He's got that
Boy,
in my head now.
and I mess your head up for a moment, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, Sorry, my bad.
No, so JD's background is actually is interesting because he did actually join the COG like his dad, and he actually ended up going AWOL. That's what we know so far. There was some kind of he went AWOL after some kind of classified incident happened, and we're going to learn more about what this incident is in the game. But
Okay.
yeah, they also announced two other characters that are going to be um, that are main characters of the game. Kate Diaz, who was a character that's raised outside the city in a group as known as the Outsiders. So I guess the Outsiders are new to the story because I don't remember, unless you guys do, I don't remember hearing anything about Outsiders in any of the Gears games.
Well,
Well.
there's outsiders, kind of when they, if you remember the first Gears when they were kind
Mm-hmm.
of going through the city, and
Mm-hmm.
they kind of helped them kind of transport through the city.
Mm-hmm.
So those were the outsiders.
Those are the Outsiders.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, and so Kate Diaz, outsider, grew up in a non-military environment. So she's one of the main characters. Again, we don't know too much yet about her background other than where she's from. And then the other character is Delmont Del Walker, who's also an ex-COG soldier. He was an orphan who became friends with JD Phoenix at boarding school, and the two of them ran off to the COG. And then this guy Delmont's actually part of that mission that led to JD going AWOL, and actually Delmont goes AWOL too. So that's what we know about the three main characters so far. And I forget the name of the new enemy. I don't know if they're the Spawn. I don't know if that's right. Yeah, I don't remember, guys. Do you guys know the name of the new enemies?
No, I
No,
don't.
no.
Yeah, I want to say it's a Spawn, but I don't think that's right. Yeah, but they kind of, um, some of them, some of the pictures that I've seen of the new enemies, like they kind of
Hmm.
look like, to me they look like Locust a little bit, and like even in the E3 demo they showed with that monster, I felt like that was kind of like I assumed that was like another type of Locust, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And but it's not, and so we don't know the origin of these creatures or where they come from. Who knows? I've heard some theories out on the internet that maybe you guys remember the end of Gears 3 where you blow up the whole joint and you basically kill all the locusts.
Yes.
That
With the
they
emotion.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
they
I haven't played Gears 3 yet. Thanks for the spoiler.
oh
Oh,
mama,
how could you not
how'd you?
play
Oh
Gears
my
3 yet?
god,
Thanks a lot, Enrique. Thanks a lot. I mean, there it goes. Boom. No, I'm
oh
just
my gosh,
it doesn't matter. I never played it. I hadn't played the Gears until it was, I played the Ultimate Edition.
Oh,
And
really?
then, yeah, and so I'm
oh
just
my,
started. I started Gears of War 2 just a
hmm
little bit, but I've got so many games, to play and catch up on. So I've got to go back. I've got to play Gears 2 and Judgment.
Okay.
So I just haven't had the time.
oh my gosh, mom, I'm so
You
sorry
can
for
skip
spoiling it. I
Judgment if you like. It's not
Well,
the best of games.
Yeah, Judgment wasn't good. I didn't like it.
yeah.
It
So
wasn't.
I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard.
Oh
And
my
three.
gosh, Mom, I'm so sorry for spoiling. I assumed that you played, Gears of War
No.
3.
No, actually, no. I hadn't played. Uh, like I said, my first experience was Gears. Was the Ultimate Edition. So, remember, I just kind of re-entered the gaming space. So
Mm-hmm.
what was it, 20? I want to say 2010 is when I came back to console gaming after a long absence, and shooters was just not my thing.
Yeah.
I wasn't, the very first shooter I've ever played and completed was Destiny. That was
Wow.
the very first shooter, yeah.
Wow.
And then after that, I went to Borderlands, and then I after Halo 5, which is why I was so excited for playing the story in Halo 5 because I kind of messed around in Halo 4 and Halo Reach, but I just, shooters just were not my thing. I didn't like shooters. I was RPG and then action adventure. Shooters were boring to me. I mean, I wanted to throw some magic, explore a cave. I wanted to conjure up, you know. a creature or something. I was like, oh, But
Yeah.
Destiny and Borderlands have, and then now Halo 5 have changed my position on that, which is why I purchased Gears Ultimate Edition, and now I'm kind of going back and playing those games for the first time that I've never experienced before.
So
So
have you completed the campaign on Gears Ultimate Edition?
I have, yes, and I'm
Okay.
actually playing it again on. Is it Legendary? Is it the Legendary? What's the highest?
On
Uh,
Insane?
yeah, Insane.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I started the campaign because at the time I didn't take notice of what level that I was playing it on.
Hmm.
And when I finished the game and that easy achievement came up, I was offended. I was offended. I said, Mama Sita, you did not play this game in the easy mode. Okay, so now you've got to go back on insane now and complete it. My ego, just my inner
Yeah.
ego, just won't allow that achievement to sit there alone without the other. So that's
Right.
why I started another campaign on Legendary. I mean, I'm on Insane, but I haven't finished it just yet. So at some point, I'll go back and do that.
Yeah, and there's a we don't know for sure, but there could be we could see Marcus Phoenix make an appearance in this game too. That's rumor though, but that there might be that in this game.
I'm
So
sure. I'm sure we will see him. I'm. I'm a little disappointed that we may not see any of the old guys. Big fan of all the Carmine guys. Bear.
hmm
You know.
yeah,
Yeah.
You know. Coltrane. You know. Those are my guys.
Coltrane, yeah,
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like.
yeah.
They brought a lot of excitement to the game.
No, they did.
Especially
Okay.
back at the time, '06. That was one of the biggest shooters, of that year. So, um, kind of disappointed that they may not, make an appearance. Hopefully, in multiplayer. But I was a little disappointed to find out, that there's only two-player co-op when there was four-player co-op on Gears 3. So. Um,
Mm.
I don't know what was their decision on that, with so many other games kind of having, this four-player co-op,
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
that,
surprised by that
they're
too.
kind of taking a step backwards. So, um,
You think perhaps because they have included couch co-op as well, though, right?
They did, yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
wonder, could that have been a deciding factor?
Well, I mean, they had couch co-op in Gears 3, and they were still four-player online
Yeah.
co-op. So,
Yeah,
I always feel like, when companies kind of take a step backwards,
I wonder if it has anything to do with frame rate and stuff. The P's.
uh, I don't know if it could necessarily be that, because it's all online. You wouldn't have to
Mm,
have a four-player couch co-op. So you would think that four-player online would be the same, but they also only have they've only announced three playable characters. So maybe that has something to do with the reason that they
that's a good
decided
point.
to do
Yeah,
that. So
Mm.
that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, and they did talk about resolution and frames per second. Looks like the online multiplayer is going to be 60 frames a second,
yes,
which I'm excited about because that was awesome on the Ultimate Edition to go
yes.
online at 60 frames a second.
Mhm. Yeah.
I got destroyed online.
Gears of War Online is brutal.
You got to know how to wall bounce. If you don't know how to wall bounce, you get done up pretty quick, man. It's a lot of
Yeah,
shotguns out there.
yeah, it is. It is. You're right. You have to wall bounce and you got to get nice with the what is it the combo with the
Yeah.
shotgun melee combo. Yeah,
hmm Everybody two pieces.
yeah, two piece.
Back in
Yep.
the day, original Gears, you were shunned upon if you, tried the two piece, but I guess it's acceptable now. I see a lot of people doing it, so it's all good.
Yeah, I don't know why people got you were shunned upon doing it because it was it took skill. I mean, like not everyone could do it.
Yeah, yeah. Not everybody could do it, but
A
it
lot of it was
also
timing.
said that you couldn't really hang with the big boys when it came to firing off those rounds. So
It's funny hearing that be money because the original Gears I used to run with the clan and we had a different perspective on that. Yeah, we definitely have a different perspective on that. But it's I'm excited for it. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, me too, man. Big Gears fan. That's probably my favorite Microsoft IP is Gears. So I can't wait to that releases. They say it probably releases in the summer. So
Somewhere this year, or
summer or early fall, I think they'll actually release the game because the beta was actually supposed to be due out in the spring. So I would assume that's coming pretty soon, and then we should see that probably early fall. I don't expect that game to release in like a November or anything like that. So
Mm.
probably September, October.
yeah. Hey guys, I want to go to the chat room real quick. Let's see here. Fastback. Oh, Fastback's actually asked a question about do you guys think the division is better than Destiny? Got tired of Destiny after a while. Yes, we mentioned that earlier, Fastback, that I think all of us think that right now the division is better than Destiny.
Hmm. Yeah, that's unanimous.
Yeah, and Fastback also mentioned that regarding Gears of War 4, that he thinks that the not having the four-player co-op is again based to just around the two or three characters in the game. So, all right, so
Okay.
on to other news. Something that I didn't have the opportunity to chat with you, Mamacita, about, or you, B Money, but well, actually, Mama, I heard your podcast about. Yeah, you did like a special podcast on this.
Oh, I
Uh,
was hurt. I'm angry. I'm sad. I'm
you already
salty.
know. Yes, 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 yes. So, um, yeah, I don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
And so Fable's done, right? For at least for the time being, Fable Legends is has been canceled, and we know about Lionhead. And I think the tragedy here is with Lionhead is that they've been around since 1996. They aren't they weren't a first party exclusive first party developer for Microsoft up until about I think 2012 when Microsoft bought them, and that's when we saw Peter Molyneux exit Lionhead, who he was the founder of Lionhead Studios in '96 after he left EA. But I was I'm still kind of shocked by all this, guys, because I keep thinking about what Phil Spencer said in regards to Microsoft really focusing on first party, new IPs. We're not doing the third party marketing deals anymore. We're getting away from that stuff because we want to do things. We want to create first party the way Nintendo's created first party. We want to invest in our first party studios. And Fable is a cornerstone franchise, in my opinion, of Microsoft Studios and their first party. And Fable was right up there with Halo 5 and Gears as the part of the greatest games lineup in the history of the Xbox. And here we are in March 2016, and the game's been canceled, and Lionhead is their doors have been closed, and no one we don't know what's going to happen to Fable Legend. I feel Phil has gone back on Twitter and he said, we're still focused on first party. We're still focused on bringing new content. You know, uh, yeah, that's fine, and he's saying the right things, but I'm looking at the actions here. I'm looking at, and I understand there's a business side to this, to console gaming or to the gaming industry, and you're really only as good as your last game, and they really haven't produced anything in the last, I believe, 6 years. Um, but I'm just, I'm surprised. I think it's, and B Money, you guys brought this up on the Inner Circle podcast. That usually it's one thing to cancel a game. It's one thing to just cancel a game and then completely close the doors on the developer. Usually it's like some layoffs, shifting of resources, whatever, and then maybe focusing on another project. Something that may be a little more viable. Um, but Mama, I'll throw this at you because of your podcast where you were really upset. I mean, what are your feelings now? We're almost a week, in the aftermath of everything. What are your thoughts still?
Well, I'll say give you my thoughts because I have an engagement, so I have to leave
Sure.
after I comment on this, and I do
Hmm.
apologize, but
No, no
I've
worries.
got something I've got to do. But uh, oh my gosh, okay, I just don't even. I haven't really thought about it the past couple of days because I was so upset and so hurt and so angry because you guys have heard me say over and over again that the Fable series was my gateway
Hmm.
into hardcore gaming. The reason I am gaming, I'm gaming, the Division, the Destinies, the Halo 5s, the Uncharted, the God of Wars, the Skyrims. The reason that I am gaming today is because of Fable, the Fable series. That was my gateway. That was my experience to non-motion gaming, last gen. And I was so engulfed and caught up into the world of Albion, and I loved that series. I loved the characters. I loved it, and I was looking forward to Fable Legends. I've been looking forward to talking
Hmm.
about Fable Legends for the past couple of years. I already lining up, my Xbox Live friends and fam. What character are you going to play? Because I've been in the beta, and okay, well, who you going to play, and how are you going to do this and how are you going to do that? Not really talking about the characters, but just saying who's going to play, who's going to, when the game releases, getting my team together. So we were just so super ready for this game. And to hear that Fable Legends is canceled, to hear that Lionhead Studios doors are closed, and the Fable series, I mean, I don't know. I don't know does that if the Fable series is gonna event itself under another area within Microsoft Studios or developer. I don't know, but I am I am at this point. I'm not trusting anything anybody tells me again at this point. And I'm not. I mean, and
Yeah.
it's not a Phil Spencer thing. It's not a Yoshida thing. You know what I mean? It's not any of that. Though you say what but I've heard you tell me before. When you know, a question about Fable Legends and talked about how excited you were about looking forward to the development and the ongoing, and we're behind our first part, and we're behind the Fable Legends series, and we're behind, and the questions that they received when the date was pushed back to spring of 2016 or whatever the time frame. But there was still support for this game, and then to hear, okay, that the game is canceled, Lionhead Studios are closed. I feel burnt. I've been
Wow.
in this beta playing this game. I've invested my time, my energy, my feedback, be in the community, and then you just shut it. You just shut it down. I'm like, okay, well, what were you all seeing on paper that you felt like it wasn't supporting the continual development of this game? You didn't see this a year ago? I mean, that's what I don't understand. If there were red flags, then you should have canned it
Hmm.
a long time ago rather than string us along, dangle something in front of us, keep us going along with this, and then you say, oh, well, we're going to have to shut it down. I understand that you have to trim the fat, okay? I understand that. But this type of trimming the fat, I think leaves a bad taste in gamers' mouths when you give us broken promises. That's my issue.
Mm.
You promise us something and then you take it away.
Mm.
And I take issue with that. Some folk would say, well, they're not Fable fans and not into the, so they're taking it easy, or it's like, okay, whatever. But you're on a Fable fan. You weren't in the beta. You weren't
Hmm.
looking forward to Fable Legends, so it doesn't affect you. You don't care. But what if it was your game?
Yeah.
What if it was a game you had invested your time and resources and money? Some people bought gold packs and all that, even though they are going to refund, and that's fine. But that's my issue. I'm at the point now, I'm not trusting what any of Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo. What you can tell me until you release it, until I see it, until I'm able to hit buy and purchase. I'm not believing anything those guys tell me anymore. I'm sorry. I'm still salty, B Money and Enrique.
That's and you have
The
every right to
salt
be
is
I
salty,
real.
Mama.
appreciate the feelings, man. I appreciate
Yeah.
being able to express that.
No,
Yeah.
Mama, and that's great that yeah, that's great that you're honest about it and you're not. And it's interesting. You brought up something. you said that why, if there was an issue, how come they didn't see it a year ago? If there are red flags before, why wait now? Why go to the distance almost if there were issues? And there's a rumor going out there now. I don't know if you all have heard this, that a lot of the issues recently that Lionhead ran into had to do with the Universal Windows platform and injecting that into the development of the game. And because they were struggling with that and not being able to hit certain benchmarks or points in the development where they would receive more funding, that ultimately kind of doomed um, Fable Legends. The link, and it was really a combination of all that too. I mean, the duration of development, and then now, the switch to UWP, and that impacting and causing issues and prolonging development even further, was again, according to this rumor, is what actually ultimately doomed this game. So
When they announced this game, didn't they announce cross-play between PC and Xbox when it was released?
Yeah.
uh,
I mean,
I mean,
when it was
who's
announced. I'm sorry, when it was
not
announced.
initially they didn't. That I
They
think that
didn't?
no, I don't think so. I think that came at GDC. I thought I could be wrong, but I feel like that came later on.
Yeah, I'm
Mm,
not sure exactly when they announced the crossplay, but you would think that when they announced that that really shouldn't fall on Lionhead's you know plate. That almost would have to be up to Microsoft to kind of lead them in the right direction to kind of develop for that platform. If they weren't hitting certain metrics, then Microsoft should have stepped in and figured out a way for them to hit those metrics.
Yeah,
This is a new platform for them, kind of to develop under. And if they weren't reaching the goals that you set before
the
them, then
milestones. Yeah,
what I mean, then how is that their fault?
yeah. Hey,
If if the game wasn't originally supposed to be, a
yeah,
cross-play game, and then you announce that it is, that's a lot of work that goes into that.
yeah, yeah. Real quick, B Money, Mama Sita, I know you have to go, so I just want to say big thank you again for coming on tonight. We always love having you on, and to all the listeners, I linked your YouTube channel on the descriptions
okay.
below. So
Okay.
please, everyone, check out Classic Gamer Gals and check out her interview. You're doing it tomorrow, right? With
Tomorrow. Tomorrow with Hip Hop Gamer on Classic Gamer Gales, well, youtube.com/ Classic Gamer Gales 2015 on my open mic podcast at 12 o'clock noon.
Awesome, awesome, and
Yes.
that's awesome, Mama Sita. And thank you again for coming on. It's always a pleasure having you on, and
Yes.
glad that we gave you that that kind of last word before you left. So
Thank
um,
you.
I I
Thank you
love
for
I love the honesty and passion.
always, always. Thank you, B Money.
Oh, thank you, man.
All
Thank you.
right,
I
you guys.
really appreciate it.
All right,
Uh,
y'all have a good night.
all right, Mama
You too.
All
Sita.
right. Bye, listeners.
Thank you. Bye bye. So be money. So yeah, I hear what you're saying, man. Like why wouldn't they just step in and help out? And I don't know. I think maybe Microsoft looked at this as, hey, you know what, this is a free to play game, and that's Eric Jackson, senior writer EXO, was a guest on our show last week. Well, he's a recurring guest, co-host, but he mentioned that the free to play games are not necessarily always profitable. And they pose a profitability challenge, and maybe Microsoft looked at that as like, well, we're not gonna, we're not going to, sell this as a game, and it's free to play. Maybe we're not going to recoup a lot of the money we've already lost. I mean,
And I think that was actually the biggest mistake when they announced this game. I thought this game should have been an MMO, if anything, and not
yeah,
this four verse one, you know, game that everyone tried to adapt, over the last year and a half. Because as you see, that has kind of been a fad. The game comes out, it's cool for a week or two, and then nobody's talking about that game anymore. So I
yeah,
think what they should have did was make Fable an MMO, and they could have just charged $9.99 a month or whatever, just so they can update the servers, update the game, keep the game fresh. And that probably would have been a better route than to go with this free to play fervor, four verse one. Because there's a lot of Fable fans out there, but a lot of them, didn't receive this game well. This isn't what they wanted, from Fable. They wanted Fable 4, and if they weren't going to give them Fable 4, I think they should at least went the MMO route, and kind of, you know, gave another avenue for Fable to kind of reach more fans.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with you, man. I think they maybe they should have done like the MMO. It's yeah, and it's I the one thing for me, B Money is I can't Lionhead's a pretty big deal, I think, for Microsoft Studios. I mean, it's
It is.
this isn't I press play. I understand, and I feel terrible for those guys losing their jobs and the folks at Lionhead. Um, but outside of 343 and Rare, the big three internally were well Rare, 343, and then Lionhead for me for Microsoft.
Hmm.
And Microsoft doesn't have like this history of organically growing studios internally. They just don't.
Right.
I think they pretty much buy or have purchased. I mean, 343 came out of Bungie leaving and the folks leaving, Bungie to start 343. The
Hmm.
coalition is Rod Ferguson, who worked on the original Gears at Epic, who just came over to Microsoft. They called him, right?
Hmm.
Um,
Yep.
and joined Black Tusk. Black Tusk was originally working on another IP, and they scrapped that to what was it, the Shanghai something? I forget what it
Yeah,
was.
the Shanghai's.
Yeah, and and so Black Tusk was assigned the duties of developing Gears of War 4 and then changed the name to the Coalition. So they don't have this history of organically starting new internal first party teams, and so that's that's the part that kind of concerns me a little bit. It's like, well, wait a minute, like are they going to buy another studio or like what's going on, and it certainly contradicts the message that Phil was saying about, hey, we're not going to invest in third party marketing deals. We're going to, build our first party and try to be like Nintendo. Well, if you're trying to be like Nintendo and Fable's a cornerstone franchise, why are you canceling or why are you getting rid of the studio that's responsible for that?
Right. Yeah, and a lot of people say, well, maybe they'll just hand Fable over to Rare, and Rare can take over, and we'll still be able to get great Fable games,
Yeah,
and that is a possibility. I'm a big fan of Rare. I've been in love with them since Super Nintendo, um, but I felt like they were kind of held back last gen, making these Connect games and things like that.
I
They released
that angered me, by
Rare
the way.
Replay. Yeah, it angered me too. They released Rare Replay, for this gen, and they have Sea of Thieves coming out. From what we heard, Sea of Thieves sounds amazing, but we haven't got our hands on it. It'll be pretty exciting to see what Rare actually does and what they bring, back to the gaming community, since they kind of been, you know, on other assignments. But I don't know if they could actually handle a Fable 4 and kind of deliver what people wanted, from Lionhead. So
Well, I'd like to see, what, B Money. I'd rather see Rare focus on Sea of Thieves and then bringing back some of the first party or some of the storied Rare franchises.
yeah,
You know,
I think this right now is the perfect time to bring back. You can make a small arcade style Battletoads game,
yeah,
and release it for $30 or something like that. There's Banjo. What is
Conquer.
Conquer doing? There's so many story franchises that Rare has that just hasn't been explored on the Xbox platform as of late. And it's very disappointing because they've had some of the biggest franchises, that have been out there, and they've been around for years, and Microsoft just hasn't capitalized on those opportunities.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. They haven't capitalized, and yeah, I think the dilemma Microsoft is having right now, B Money, is that their messaging is mixed right now, and I've always thought this. Well, I shouldn't say I always thought this, but more recently I've come to the conclusion that the messaging in 2013 and not identifying with the core gamer really has really hurt them, and I still think they're having issues with messaging. Yes, I know the Xbox One plays video games,
Yes.
but they're trying to get this box to do other things, and it's like, and I wonder sometimes, and people have said to me, "Oh, you're just hating on Microsoft." I'm like, no, not really. I'm not hating on Microsoft. I don't know how questioning what they're doing is hating rather than just questioning. It's curiosity more than anything else. Um, yeah, and actually, Supersonic Station said Microsoft Communication is piss poor. Yes, that is piss poor, and you know, I just where Sony is succeeding is the
They talk
messaging
to the
piece.
gamers.
Yeah,
They talk to the
yeah.
gamers.
And look, they're doing stuff. They're doing stuff behind the scenes. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't buy and invest in cloud the way they have, or streaming service the way they have, because you're not looking to broaden the appeal and broaden the base of your PlayStation brand. The PlayStation is a brand to them,
Yes.
and so they're doing stuff too. They're just not. It's not the main focal point of their conversations to gamers. It's like, oh, hey, we got Ratchet and Clay coming out, and the Sony fans go nuts, and then, oh, by the way, you
There's a
know
movie.
there's a exactly,
Yeah. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's not the focal point.
it's
You know.
not. Like, you remember when they made those, I think when they at E3 2013 with the PlayStation 4, I think they announced something, and they're like, oh, by the way, we're start charging for PlayStation Network, you start
Yeah.
charging for PSN $50, blah blah blah. But it was kind
Yeah.
of like, it's kind of like a side thing, but that's what they do. I mean, and I thought when Microsoft was successful, that's the messaging I thought they had. And
Yeah.
now this ecosystem. People don't know what this ecosystem is. They don't know how it's going to impact the Xbox One.
Hmm.
Yeah, we. I think there's a. I think the upside for this though is that the Xbox could potentially get more games.
Yes.
Um, but in terms of
But who would know about those games is the question. You know what I
exactly.
mean? Because unless you have the system, those games won't be advertised. You know.
Yeah.
You know. So that's kind of the only thing. As far as the messaging, because like you said, there's a potential that we'll get more games on the system, but those games won't hit store shelves. Those games won't, you know, there won't be mass advertisement, for those games at all or anything like that. The hardcore guys will know about those, but the gamers who you're trying to bring into your ecosystem, won't know about them until they're actually in the ecosystem.
Yeah, that's true. And you know what? I'd like to see them open up the beta for Fable Legends to the fans, to everyone.
They should.
You
They
know,
definitely should. They did announce that it'll be open until April 13th, which I thought was actually a very weird announcement. Since they were canceling the game anyway. But um, you know, maybe there's a bigger picture. At the end of the story, because why keep the servers open and allow people to continue playing a game that they'll never get. You know what I mean? So. I
yeah, I
guess I
don't
guess we'll
know.
see at E3. Maybe they have another announcement. Maybe Lionhead is now a bigger studio. Working on a bigger game, or maybe a traditional Fable game or something like that. But um, I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Let me ask you something, V Money. What do you think they need to do at E3? Like, what do you should you think they should stray away from talking about the ecosystem and just really refocus, or the conversation to games, or
They just got to talk about games, 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 games. Like none of this random people coming up on the stage talking about stuff that we don't care about.
like a
You know,
Microsoft engineer?
yeah, yeah. We, gamers don't care about that stuff. Like it's cool, new features to the system, things like that. Um, but if you're viewing E3, to kind of determine, which console you're going to pick up, or you know where you're going to buy your games at, for the remainder of the year, you want to know about the games. Like
Yeah.
A lot of the features that are on Xbox, on PlayStation, on Nintendo, a lot of people don't even know about those features because they don't care. They want to
Hmm.
put their game in, load their game up, talk to their friends, play their game, turn the system off. Um, you know, so you just gotta talk about games. I would say they've done a pretty good job and over the last few years
Yeah.
in regards to E3. But I think, you know, maybe for both companies, showing the AR and VR stuff is cool. But I think, stuff like that you can kind of show on your own time. You can have your YouTube videos. You can show that GDC
Yeah.
build conferences, things like that. Gamers want to know about the games that they'll be playing in the near future. And if you show me, something in VR that it looks cool, but anything with VR, AR, you can only show so much. You have to experience, those types of games,
Yeah.
basically. You
Absolutely.
you can't really show that off well and expect people to run out and make a purchase. That's kind of done by experience. So just talk about games, man, and that's for all companies. I hope all the companies come fully focused and just talk about games. I hope Nintendo comes and talks about games. Their directs and stuff like that are cool, but
Hmm.
we want to know about games. We bought a console to play games. We're gamers, so
Yeah, and that's I think the criticism of Microsoft is with the Xbox One is, are they do they want it to be a game console or do they want it to be an entertainment box?
right,
And I understand gaming is entertainment, but I think it's the messaging and how you position it.
right,
You can have all these features, but like you said, it's got to be about games. And when you take away a cornerstone franchise of your and shut down one of your key first party studios,
yes,
it's not that's not talking about games. It's taking away games, in my opinion.
right,
And that's kind of why I've kind of raised an eyebrow to this. Like this is a really weird move. Like I'm still in shock, and I understand the argument. This happens all the time. We always hear about games. I think EverQuest. There was a new EverQuest that was coming out that just got canned.
hmm
And I understand these things happen, but it's in the way it happened.
right.
And so
Because just a few days before that, they were hyping up the game. They're talking about giving away the Fable exclusive consoles. They
yeah,
were promoting it on Twitter, and then a couple of days later, there's an announcement that the studio's been shut down. So there again lies the mixed messaging. You know, why are you having gamers get all hyped up about winning the exclusive console or getting hyped up about the game, and then a couple of days later, the game is no more. So
yeah. And look at Mamacita's reaction.
yeah,
I mean, I don't blame her. I mean, that's a fair, reaction. It's fair that she feels that way.
yeah,
How many other people are like Mamacita that feel that way? I'm sure there's others.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know, man. None of this stuff makes sense.
So with them canceling the game, let me ask you this:
Yeah,
what do you think they have in line to kind of replace Fable?
that's a good question. You have to think they have something else. If they don't, not good.
Because you got to think, Fable was probably going to release,
Yeah,
this year. So they cancel that game, and if they're truly going to work on another Fable, that will probably take about 3 years before we see a release. So in my eyes, that's a pretty big gaping hole, regardless of if the game is going to be free to play or whatever the issue was. But um, it was still a game that was part of your lineup. It was still part of all the big commercials that we
yeah,
saw last year. It was still a part of your campaign, your marketing campaign, and now that game is no more. So it makes me wonder what they kind of have to fill that gap. Um, because a lot of people give me flack because I always call out Microsoft for only releasing their games in the fall. And they release a lot of the same games over and over and over again, and it even though Fable is a story franchise with Microsoft, it was something different than the traditional Fable game. So it was going to be new and refreshing, to a lot of gamers. So it's a little disturbing to see it kind of go away, and then now we're stuck with another Forza, another Gears,
Yeah.
another Halo game. So
B money. I've always thought that while those franchises are great, I mean Nintendo does it with their franchises, but they also release new stuff, and
right,
but they also don't release what I feel like these franchises over and over. I mean they do, but I feel like there's at least some time between the last release and the new release of a
right,
franchise with Nintendo. Um, yeah, I mean, and you're right. They do kind of clutter all their big releases. At the end of the year, and I know why they do it. They're doing it. They want to capitalize on the holidays, but why not? Why not spread that out? I mean, yeah, at least we're getting Quantum Break next month, which is great.
right, right.
But yeah, I agree with you, man. I think they need to bring some new IP. Halo's great. I like Halo. I'm not gonna lie, though. I'm getting after the. This is probably the. I like Halo 5, but this wasn't the best Halo 5 I played.
Yeah, I said a long time ago when they announced Halo 5 that this would probably be the last Halo game that I purchased, just because I've been through all the stories, and I kind of feel like you can only tell a story for so long. It's kind of why I don't like to buy franchises that release every single year. So like the Assassin's Creeds, things like that. Like I don't like to buy those games every year because I feel like I kind of get drained of playing them. I feel like all the stories kind of run into each other,
Yeah,
and you know it becomes kind of pointless. It's almost like mind numbing to keep playing the same franchises every year.
it is.
Um, so, for me, I think Halo 5 would probably be the last one I purchased, depending on, where they kind of take the story, what the offspring games will be in the near future. But um, I, I just get to the point now where I can't continue to play the same games over and over. Um, and I thought it would have been a great idea for Microsoft to kind of stop announcing their game so far in advance, and kind of wait until they're almost ready, because it would have been nice to have like a recore earlier in the year, or if Scalebound was ready to kind of have Scalebound at the top of the year, maybe in February or March. um, because those are new IPs and fresh ideas,
Yeah,
and it kind of would have kind of opened up the portfolio a little bit. Maybe have more gamers take a look at what Microsoft is actually doing, and not just the same old franchises over and over.
yeah. I agree with you, man. I do, and I this and honestly, for me, it's like when the fact that this game was canceled too, it only highlights that there aren't any other new IPs that we're aware of. I mean, look, this could all be for naught. I mean, they could come out E3 and be like, oh, we got three new IPs first party. We could be like, oh shit, this is great.
Right, right.
But at least for the time being today, it's like, well, okay, well, what are you guys gonna have now? you know,
Yeah,
I think that's a
yeah,
fair question, and people have kind of beat me up on Twitter saying, "Oh, well, you're hating on Microsoft." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm not hating on Microsoft. It's a legitimate question."
yeah, yeah. I say it all the time, man. We have Quantum Break, and we don't know what else releases after that. Like we know there's games that'll be releasing in the fall, but when?
Yeah, Gears is rumored to maybe drop this fall, but we won't know anything until that's until until E3 probably. And but yeah,
They keep saying records this year. We still haven't seen anything in regards to gameplay on that game. So
no, we
that
haven't.
game, may hit this year. Hopefully they do a full fledged, reveal of the game at E3, and we see a lot of gameplay of the game. But we're not for sure on that game. So,
No, no, we're not.
you know, we know Halo Wars 2 is coming. So, of course, that game would probably release early summer, early fall, something like that. Um, and then we know there's another Forza game coming. So that'll probably release in September as well. So from April to September, where's the games at?
It's a good question. We'll find out at E3, I hope.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So, well, B Money, you know what, man? I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this podcast because I'm trying to get some gaming in, man.
yeah, I hear you, man.
But you know what, man? Hey, I want to say thank you again for joining me, man. It's always a pleasure having you on the podcast, man.
Thanks for inviting me, man. I really appreciate it.
No, absolutely. Like I said, I'm a big fan of what you guys are doing at the Inner Circle podcast and have been for a while. So, thank you again. And thank you to Mama Sita, who joined us from Classic Gamer Gals. She had to leave a little bit early. But I feel terrible spoiling Gears of War 3 for the ending. I feel terrible. I had no idea though. I assumed she played, but
Yeah, I did too.
yeah.
Sorry
So
we spoiled it for you, Mama Caesar.
I
That was
know,
not our intention.
no, not it. It wasn't done intentionally. Absolutely right. So, but I want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat room. Fastback joined us this evening, and Supersonic Station was in the chat room, or is in the chat room. And then Sean, actually from Inside Gaming Online, hopped in for a little bit and was conversing with us as well. He's actually, I think he's on I think the original Next Level Gaming podcast is streaming right now as well. I think he's in there broadcasting live with Mike Mullis. So shout out to those guys. What do you guys? So you guys do a podcast every other week? I think.
We try to do it every other week. It's been kind of hectic trying to get the full team on the show, but yeah, we try to do it every other week. We do it weekly when we have interviews, um, but it's kind of slow right now with everyone going to GDC and
Yeah.
build and stuff like that. So we've been working really hard to get pump out the reviews. So shouts to all the devs who've been supporting us with the content. That's much appreciated. Um, but yeah, we should be doing a show this week. So everyone tune in to YouTube / Tick Podcast, TIC Podcast, and be able to check us out on Thursday. So
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And I have provided the links to everyone in the descriptions section below to Classic Gamer Gals and the Inner Circle podcast. So definitely check out both. And we'll be back on Tuesday night for our regular podcast, regular what I call our just general gaming podcast with Basement Radio Arcade at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to have some, we're actually going to have a couple guests on Tuesday. We're going to have John from the Super Deformed uh, Games podcast. And we're going to have Eric returning, Eric Jackson, senior writer from EXL Gaming. And we might have Randall from the TXR podcast. I don't know if you've listened to them,
hmm
B Money. You have?
yep, I've listened to those guys too.
Yeah. So he might be joining us as well. And then we're going to have maybe uh, Sean from Inside Gaming Online. He's also a co-host on the original Next Level Gaming podcast, and maybe Mike Mullis as well from the original Next Level Gaming podcast on Tuesday. So yeah, we're gonna.
Pretty big panel there.
Yeah. I've never done a panel this big, but I kind of wanted to because GDC starts tomorrow, so I'm sure
hmm
we'll hear some news coming out of GDC, and so I wanted to talk about that, with these guys, and I really, a lot of the people that I've had on as guests, B Money, I really enjoy what they're doing, you know,
Yeah,
with their podcast. Like I said, I enjoy what you guys are doing. Um, TXR, Original Next Level Gaming. Um, I just really enjoy, what they're doing, and yeah, Super Deformed Gamescast too with John, and what those guys are doing. B1, if you haven't checked out their podcast, you definitely want to check it out, man. It's great, man. Just a bunch of gamers getting together, just talking about games. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'll take a look at that, man.
Yeah, yeah, definitely check them out. So, all right, well, B Money, thank you again for joining me. Mamacita, big shout out to you, Eric. If you're listening, or if you're listening later, we missed you tonight, but we'll have you back on Tuesday. And everyone, please, hey, give us a like, subscribe to us. We're trying to grow this out. It's been a slow burn, but I think we're doing it the right way. We're just shooting the shit, talking about games.
Hey,
Eh,
there's nothing wrong with doing it the way you guys are doing it. It's the same way that Tick Podcast and other podcasts started out. It's all right having a slow grind. It definitely pays off in the end, man. So keep doing what you're doing. You know, I support you,
Thank
and
you.
so many other gamers do. So
Oh, I
keep
appreciate that.
grinding, man.
No, I thank you, thank you, B Money. That means a lot to me, man. Coming from you, I really appreciate that. Um, but yeah, for the folks who are listening, give us a like, subscribe. Again, we're trying to grow this thing out, and so we can do giveaways and things like that, and hopefully get some developers or some folks that are in the industry here as guests, and shoot the shit with them. So, also, feel free to leave comments in the comment section below. Please know, like, don't leave any like fanboy console war stuff. We don't, I really don't get into that. So, um, and other than that, remember, gamers, to game on, but more importantly, have fun, because that's ultimately what gaming's about. So, we'll see you guys on Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for watching. Peace.